My name is Carrie Dorsky. I am the operations coordinator at the NWTC Artisan and Business Center, and this is our October and Artist Journey. And I am here with Gregory Frederic tonight. Actually, we're both here virtually, so sometimes I'm at home, sometimes at the studio. Tonight I'm at home because it's a little icky outside. So if you have not joined us for an artist journey before, this is our series focused on artists and business and all the things it takes to be an artist. So when I plan the series, I always try to plan to interview about 3 artists, 3 community organizations, and then tackle 3 business topics. So if you joined us last month with Jenny Jekyll, she is an artist out of the Fox Valley, and we talked with her in September. And now we're meeting with Gregory Frederic here. And then next month, I am meeting with the Bay Area Arts and Culture Alliance. They're going to talk to us about the Spark a GGB survey in November. I'm very excited to hear those results and the impact on our arts community. So plan to join us for that. We always meet on the 3rd Tuesday of each month at 5:30. And not a lot of people join us live, but a lot of you like to watch the replays. So please tune in to our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. That's where all of the recordings are posted. And I am going to stop rambling now and let Gregory introduce himself.
Hey, Carrie, thank you for having me. I'm Gregory Frederic, of course, an artist. We live in the Green Bay area. So I'm original from Haiti and moved here in 2013 and follow my dreams. So been doing art in Haiti, all of that. So, and move with my box of supplies into Green Bay, Wisconsin, of course. Married in Wisconsin. So now we married and own a house in the community and follow the dream, like I said, and doing art.
Awesome.
So,
What kind of art? So if people don't know you, which I'm guessing a lot of people do, I think your name is pretty well known in our community. Can you describe what kind of art you make and what kind of mediums you like to work in?
um, for right now, I'm mostly working with acrylic paint. And I used to paint with oil, but short story, I just stopped working with that because the smell kind of thing is too strong for the kids in the house. But my work done with acrylic paint mostly, and my work, I will describe it as modern eclectic. It's between surrealism and cubism and combine certain great other I would say entity of work all the artists already created and combine my own way to see how I can make everything fit into together and trying to find myself somehow. But some people call it abstract, but I will not say it abstract, but because you will see cubism in my work and then you will see surrealism in my work. It's whatever I feel for the moment. Because we're living in a surreal world right now. And of course, so yeah.
For sure. Like why limit yourself to one style of artwork, right?
Definitely. I mean, being an artist, you should always, trying to get your hand any type of form, anything you think, you can create using your hand is very important, Don't limit it yourself as an artist. I think that's the thing.
I totally agree. And you
Yeah.
said you work in acrylic because you've got kids in the house, and I work in acrylic because I think it's easier. There's less cleanup and chemicals, and it moves faster. So I totally
Yeah.
agree.
I will say, yeah, that too, it's very, easily to clean and then and dry quicker. So I think certain things you can do with the acrylic paint, it's completely different than working with oil base or whatever. Yeah, I think it's easier for me to. It's not only for the kids because in the house only, but I mean I have my own studio to work on, but still, the smell too. I know what that can cause later on. I mean, technology let us know that.
For sure.
Yeah,
Learn from the former artist, right?
yeah, definitely.
So how did you get into art? How did you discover that this is what you really wanted to do?
Um, well, I will say, um, been living in Haiti at the time when I start knowing and discovering my talent. It was after high school. I couldn't make it to college, so it was kind of difficult for my parents because I grew up in a family. My parents are tailor. My grandparents was tailor in farming, doing things like that. Um, but my dad, he's a self-taught. He just saw his dad doing things about, you know, cutting fabric, stuff like that. So, and that talent, so I think it's connected at some point from part of my grandparents, anything like that. And I feel like, okay, see what my parents doing. And one day I decide, okay, I can't make it to college. What should I do? I should decide, should I be in a tailor on there or should I just move on and do something different? Because I found my parents been working with their hands all the time as well. And one day I just say, okay, well, I lost one my sister, the story, and things been very difficult. And I just start drawing. And when I was younger than that, so I was kind of like drawing at school, and it's always difficult because teacher always trying to keep you away from that because certain things have the time to do it. But I didn't see it that way. Just keep going with it, and met few folks, and then they introduced me to the art world. And since right now, this is it. Keep doing what I like to do, and I find myself into it. Just keep doing it.
For sure. And I feel like I don't try to over prepare for these interviews, but I do like to do a little bit of like, what do I know about this person? What makes them kind of stand out? And so, I started
Mhm.
poking around the internet a little bit and I feel like you're kind of everywhere. So how did you get so involved in the community? How did you kind of start that process with networking and figuring out which events you wanted to do? How did that process work?
Um, well, the thing is, when you're in a community, you have to get involved. That's the focus point right there. I mean, not only being an artist, you have to, focus and then get involved in things. You should be involved in what's going on, politics, anything happening in your community, you should be. And you should know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, then why you live here? Um, and move the next place too. If you don't, again, you're gonna keep moving all over the place. Moved to Green Bay. I visit Green Bay and because the arts and mostly met my wife in Haiti that way and talk about it and I visit Art Street. So that's how it started for me to start knowing people in the community and get involved in things is find out where things going, how things done here, like meeting you tonight, talk about build a relationship with each other. So it's very important when you see someone, some people kind of like being in all this afraid to talk to people and they don't go to art reception, they don't visit other people's galleries, they don't, you stalk yourself. You wonder why you're not successful. You wonder why you you're not doing well in what you do. I mean, I'm not trying to, but this is it. You have to get yourself involved in things. Meet other artists and talk to them. And at some point, and when they see you in things, you go to see them and they come to see you. And the connection keep build that way. That's why I get involved
I
and meeting
totally
people.
agree. I
Yeah.
think that's the best advice. And sometimes I think it's hard for artists to hear that they have to talk to people because I think some artists do want to just work on their artwork and not have to do the kind of peopling part of it. But it's so important. There's so many great artists, and I know that can also be intimidating to like walk up to an artist you admire. But at the end of the day, we're all people in, like you said, making those relationships. That's how you
Mhm.
get more exciting
Mhm.
events and opportunities and platforms to showcase your art. And I think it's kind of an organic experience, right? So sometimes if you meet a
Yeah.
person, then you don't see them again for another few months. But then sometimes they might be like, oh, yeah, I met that Gregory guy and he was really great at this. He'd be great at this event. Or, you know what? Those kind of people moments make a big difference.
Definitely, definitely. And of course, like sometimes you even meet people online, you don't even know them because you're in such a small art community and people heard about your name and reach out online too. So sometimes you heard about someone else hey, reach out to say, hey, I heard about you. You participate in this show, how it's going. You know, I mean, talk to people and don't be afraid. You know, when you want to talk politics, other things, you contact others. You say, hey, what's up? You know, but what about the art? You know, what about other things? Let's communicate. Let's keep that, you know, engagement. Let's keep it close. You know.
Sure. I
Yeah.
run our residency program at the Artisan Center, and so we take like 5 residents each year. And this year I started making sure that I have like coffee or lunch or whatever one-on-one with each of them
Uh-huh.
just to get to know them as a person. And so just I think that I don't know, I don't want to give too much advice to people, but if you're
Uh-huh.
watching this, just reach out to your favorite artists. Reach out to people in the community, stop by, invite them out for coffee, talk about what you're working on, brainstorm ideas, figure out how you can get involved. And I think that that's how this community can only be improved and
Mm-hmm.
built on.
Definitely. You know, a community doesn't improve without reach out to each other. We not if I don't know what you do, you don't know what I do. Or you heard about my name, you never reach out to say, hey, what's up? So how are you doing cool things in the community? How can I get to that point too? If you're afraid to ask me, or I'm afraid to ask you, guess what? We all both gonna be stuck in a way and nothing gonna be done here. And we're
Exactly.
just gonna look at New York City, you're gonna look at all the Chicago, all over the place being cool, and you're just gonna want to visit every time, spend your money down. But guess what? We can make this community just like everyone everyone else, just like that.
Yeah. Everybody just has to kind of pitch in and do the work and care
Yes.
about it, you
Yeah.
know? So you made me think of something. One of our speakers who I bring into my residency program, her name is Kat Gottlieb, and she is part of Windows for a Cause. And so she was presenting to the residents and she brought up your name. And I was like, oh, he and I are going to chat next month for Artist Journey.
Yeah.
So I wrote down just a question because I think it's important for artists to think about when we're talking about community. How do
Mhm.
you figure out which events or organizations to give back to and really participate in? And then how do you figure out what to say no to?
It's hard to say no, right?
Yeah,
If you say yes to everyone, you say no to yourself sometimes. Being an artist, you can't give everywhere because you're gonna be broke. Definitely. We already broke, it will be even at some point more difficult. Um, to find people to help or whatever, you know, you find the most important things, whatever you feel, you know, everybody, like if you like cats, of course, you know, you care about cats. I care about the art community. And when I heard it's something about, okay, this person need help, and I found out um, um, cat live, and they're doing cool things happening about the art in the community as well. They're using the business, they create something inside that, beside that, to find a way to promote the art as well, and then helping people with what, you know, I mean, it's so brilliant. And I think that's something I'm attached with. And I feel, okay, it's very important to me. Kids want to visit um, Florida, like visit something, you know, they're having some issue. It's very painful, all of that. I say, wow, that's very touching. That's how I get, you know, and I'm kind of a guy, it's little things like that touch me in a way. And I feel, okay, it's very important. I can help by creating something, and that's not going to hurt anything. You know, I mean, just feel, you know, help out. It's very important to me sometimes. And I can't help everybody, but little things help.
I was looking at your website. I don't remember, probably a few weeks ago when I was reading about Windows for a Cause on your site after Kat had mentioned it. And that's kind of the feeling I got was that it is something that you really connected with. But I also think from a business perspective, and I hate when people are like, well, it's going to get you exposure. But I really do think that that worked in your favor as an artist. You know, I think it was the right platform. Obviously, it aligned with you and what you care about and your inspiration. But it also was a great platform for people in the community to get to know you that might not have otherwise.
Hmm. Well, that's true. But again, you know, being an artist sometimes too, it's kind of difficult. And every time someone asks for, hey, can you help me with this? Well, you're gonna have a lot of people see you or whatever it is. Um, One thing I can say, we as artists, we have to be careful with. We need to find what's more important as an artist, what you want to help with, because you can't keep throwing everywhere. You have to focus on that. And at some point, and people will give you more respect with what you know where you're throwing your thing. Because if you don't, and everybody will reach out. If I want to reach out with any businesses right now, and I tell you, and you tell someone else, and everybody, this business is gonna go down because at some point, if you know, economy wise, you just have to remember that. Let's go quickly on that. So you might gonna ask me that question too, but a lot of time people think, you know, being an artist is not like you just an artist. You're not just an artist. You are an entrepreneur. You doing business like everybody else. Someone asked me to help with painted windows. Yes, I'm gonna help because this is what my heart feel like to do. But don't think because I help with that, someone is gonna say, "Hey, you need to help me with this." I'm gonna have to say yes about that. No, you can't say yes about everything. You have to say no sometimes because you have to focus in what's most important to you. You can do it if you want, but for sure, what's more important to you, what really gonna change some lives out there, things need to be done in the community, you just help out with it.
For sure. You can't spread yourself too thin.
To
And then
10,
you,
because
yeah,
we run a business like everybody else. We can't just sit on it and then just think. You can just, well, I'm gonna need a brush to paint next time. So my brush full with paint, I forgot to wash it. It's dry. So what I'm gonna do? You know? Yes.
so true. I'm glad we talked about that. I feel like so many artists and so many people I know are hit up to help with every little thing. You know,
Well,
come do this, come do this event, come do that. And you can't say yes to everything. And that's part of being an entrepreneur is learning how to
hmm
say no.
hmm well, it's a process. I will say, a lot of artists, again, you need to understand what we do is a business. You have to stay professional. If you're not, sorry to hear that. Yes.
I think those boundaries are so important.
Yes, they
um,
are.
can you tell us about any events you've been doing recently or anything you're really excited about that you've been doing?
Well, one of our biggest thing event I did, it's a performance in the community. It's I just did two right and back to back. We just finished Ignite, working with on Broadway district. The last one I just did it with Angel Lenskins, um, with the Art Hub Collective. This was very cool and something I never done before to paint cars.
I saw the
It was,
pictures. They looked really
yeah,
cool.
it was, I was very excited about this one. It was awesome. And now again, we just paint for the Parkers at Town District. We've been hired to paint for all the home games, and we're very excited about it.
It's
And
so
to give
cool.
back again, of course, to the community and have people come, you know, and represent Green Bay and to show people, hey, when you come to Green Bay, we have cool things happen here. And we're excited about it.
Those are exactly the two things I was like, I hope he mentions these two things because they're really cool.
And more to come for sure. Again, you know, we're not gonna stop it until something changes, till all the artists understand, hey, we are more than people think, you know. I mean, without us, I think you have to find your value at some point. You can't just like let it go. Say, hey, someone gonna do for you. We need to get out and do something about it. We are entrepreneur. We are a owner of a business like everybody else. Get your things together. Let's move on. Let's say, hey, you can still work for someone else. I don't say to quit your job. Not everybody can do the same thing, you know. I may, you just so everybody do your own thing. But again, with your side job, you still can run an out business as well, slowly, and until you get to that point you wanna. I was in that point. You can do it as well. So everybody have their own thing, but it take time, you know.
I think that's kind of the whole philosophy for this kind of speaker series we do is that, there's not one path for every artist to follow. It's completely different for
Yep,
everybody.
yep,
And
exactly.
so having artists kind of share their stories with the bigger audience shows, there's so many different paths an artist can take.
hmm
Every single journey is going to look completely different. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me how you and Andrew started the Art Hop Collective?
For what I remember is how we met, and so we just met at the art garage, I believe. Again, I didn't know him. Um, I just walked, and then I heard something going on in the community. So somehow I got in the email list. Of course, if everything's free, put your name in it, right? I was emailed by at the art garage, hey, something's going on, and I checked it out. So I met in Julenskin and I think a couple other artists at the time. So he was painting live, and then we shared some idea at the end and introduced myself to him. And he wasn't willing to talk to me at that point. I said, oh my gosh. And again, English is not my first language. He find a way to understand me. And I think we connected that night. Um, and that's how it just started. And then start talking and say, hey, this is what I do. And what do you think? And then invite me one day in a meeting. So with the rest of trying to figure out who we're gonna see to work with, and get other people involved, like Cujo, all the people involved. He'd been work at that night. He was working with Cujo, and a few other folks, but he was the only painter working that night. Again, so they have gonna have the first performance. Again, I went there and checked it out again at the art garage again. He did one 30-foot mural by himself, and trying to say, hey, this is what I'm talking to you about. We wanna get you involved. You think it's something you wanna be part of? I said, oh my gosh. I used to paint mural in Haiti, but not that fast. It's very new ball games for me. So then talk about it and accept the deal and say, okay, let's check in on that. Okay, I'm gonna try. And he's been slowly, working with me about it and figured out, okay, that's how things done, um and get my point of view and figured out how we're gonna have things done in the community until this day. So we've been working 5 years now together. Yeah.
Years, holy cow. I wasn't at the first Art Hop Collective, but I remember everybody talking about it and how
Yeah.
cool it was, and like seeing the live painting and how, Green Bay didn't really have a lot of live painting, especially with music and entertainment. Having that kind of experience is
Mm-hmm.
it's very different for Green Bay.
Yeah,
So that's
very different
cool.
for Green Bay, and I don't know, it might happen somewhere else, but not the way we do things here. We as the Art Hub Collective, we invite other artists from all over, all over the place. We just have one artist play with us. It's from Canada, um, and he's 7 years champion from the world. He's crazy good, and it's an honor for us to play with him. He played with Andrew last time at the Art Garage, and he played with us again at Ignite, and now he just played with us again at Titletown District. So I mean, we bring in cool people in the community, things like that. That's the kind of connection we're talking about. You know, um, Meet him. Next time you're gonna meet someone else. That's the connection. Bring him here, and other people met him. That's the connections we're talking about. We need to keep those relationships and when cool people in the community doing great things. And again, Green Bay gonna be in the map not only for the football. We're gonna be in the map for the art. We're gonna be in the
Absolutely.
art for the great community. People get together and have things done
For
in a good
sure.
way. Yeah.
I love the idea of live murals being painted at Titletown during home games. We've worked with the Titletown district a little bit, and I'm so excited about what they're doing because, like you said, Green Bay's really known for football, right? And people
Mm-hmm.
come here from all over to see those football games. But then, maybe they're walking by and they see artists painting and they see
Mm-hmm.
other things going on, and they realize we are a cool city and we have a lot going on. And I think that's huge.
Definitely, it is very huge because exactly because I travel all over the place as well, going to do showing my work. I not only stay in my town to do showing my work. Of course, if I don't do it, nobody gonna do it for me. Because I do it full time now. My wife and I run this art business, so she does the paperwork mostly, and I do my craft. Um, but again, we see people talking about Green Bay and then trying to say, "What are you doing in Green Bay? Green Bay is so cold. Green Bay is only are you a Packer fan?" Yes, I'm a Packer fan, of course, but again, it's not only things we have in the community. We have so much happening here. You know what I mean? We have a great community. People, you don't want to talk about it. Let me tell you about it. It's so much happening here, you know. I think Green Bay at some point, you know, for what we start here right now, all these get together things happening, and we have Unhinged gonna happen at the Widener. You know, we have so much. I mean, people need to know about it.
For sure. I was just reading earlier this afternoon the article in the Press Gazette about Unhinged coming up, and it
Yeah.
sounds so cool. It sounds incredible, and what a cool thing to have happening in our community. Like, I
Hmm.
should probably say this. I know the recording will get posted later this week, so if you're watching this after the fact, it's this weekend, Friday and Saturday at the Widener, and they've got tickets
Yes.
and all of that online. So if anybody's seeing this, go check it out. It looks really cool. They're going to have like performances and live art and artists and dance and theater. And I read something about a bathroom performance happening. So sounds very cool. It sounds
Yeah.
very much like something a big city would have. So
Yes. Definitely cool. I
are you
love it.
participating in that?
This year I'm not.
Okay.
Sorry to say so, but last year I did. This year I have other commitment with another organization thing I have to do, so I will not be able to attend.
That's good. Hey, when you get to be so busy that you have to turn down opportunities,
Again,
that's a good
yes.
place to be.
Yes, again, yeah. So
Um,
yeah.
I've got a whole bunch of questions here, but if anybody who's joined us live tonight wants to unmute themselves and ask questions, please go for it or drop it in the chat and I'll read it out loud. So just for anybody watching, I don't want to hog all of the questions. If you guys want to ask Gregory anything.
I have a question,
Oh,
Carrie.
please go for it.
So I'm wondering, Gregory, how your style of painting evolved because it's so recognizable. When I go to an event, I know that's a Gregory Frederic painting because
Ooh.
it's just you've developed a style that's it's you. And I'm just wondering where that came, that cubism influence and the the color saturation. It's vivid colors and a lot of movement, and it's an evocative painting. How did that develop?
Well, I will say the development of this my artistic journey it start, like when I was younger, I used to like geometric, um, and again, that's part of when I start learning about Picasso, and he does a lot of cubism thing, and I say, oh my gosh, that's a great connections to have, and then follow up with to see what great artists been doing. Um, but the movement, surrealism kind of thing I add, it's from Salvador Dali. So I like the surrealistic artist because we're living in a surreal world. I feel so much going on and came from in a third world country and I see so much and move here, all the great things and combine that ideas together came from in a surreal world and move to a different, community. And I think I brought this here with me. And this is me, music. I love music. And again, connect with Art Hub Collective. You can see again, music a lot. I'm trying to find anything cool, anything like move me and then add it to my work. I'm glad you can recognize my work, even you don't see my face there. That's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, that's how my movement started. You just play with you just play with it and till you get yourself to it. Don't be afraid to do whatever you feel. That make any sense to you?
Yes, thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
of course.
As I was sitting back and listening to you speak, I realized that we're talking about visual things. And yes, we can see some artwork behind you, but I was just clicking around and I pulled up my Facebook page to look at your Facebook page. So I'm going to just put this on the screen here so that people want to see what we're talking about here. You've got a couple of great videos right on your Facebook page. There it is. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Gregory's Facebook page. Please go give him a follow. Look at that car. That's from the Ignite Market this weekend.
Mhm.
And then below, I saw a little bit of the mural at the Titletown District that we were talking about too. So
Yeah.
Definitely go check it out. There's a little visual for everybody, so you know what we're talking about as we're talking about it. Um, I thought it was really cool that you guys painted on cars. You haven't done that before, right? That was the first.
First time for everything, right?
How did
It
you
was
figure that
awesome.
out? Did you like prime the whole thing?
Well, enjoying I primed the whole thing. It was
Yeah.
very cold, and then we're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how the paint gonna dry, all of that. But again, we find good quality paint in the community, and we just did our job, what we have to do, and have it done.
That's cool. I see that as like a fun creative challenge. I
Yeah.
think I always love a good like I'm working on some stuffed animals right now for the Sage Toy Makers
Oh,
fundraiser.
awesome. Yeah, beautiful
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
I love it. And I'm like, okay, the first time I did it, I was like, I've never painted on a fabric stuffed animal before. I got to figure this out. And I've got 3 fish on my studio right over there, and I'm figuring that out as I go. But I love that. I feel like it kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Boundary. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It pushes you out of what you're used to doing. And then you always learn something from it. So I
Mhm.
bet painting cars, you learned something from doing
Yes,
that.
I did. It was very fun.
Yeah. What's next for you? What are you working on right now? Anything exciting?
Um, my gosh, I have so many things I'm working on. When I'm working on paintings, probably even 20 paintings started,
Cow.
and it's crazy. Again, being an artist, you just have to get enough supplies. So you have to be in the point. I know sometimes you say, "Ah, I don't sell them. Why not?" Well, one day when you're gonna start selling them, and you're not gonna have enough inventory, and you're gonna freaking out. So that's why I learned to always start many as I can, because the idea is always there. I can't even get to them because there's so many of it. I mean, talking to you now, ideas always build up. That's what's fun about part of the conversations. Again, yes, I have many of them I'm working on. I have a large piece behind me right now. Just started and wait to get the next move into it.
So do you paint like every day? Do you touch something almost every day?
Try to, but I cooked every day.
Yep, gotta do that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to paint every day. Even I don't do much.
Yeah.
Even walking by my paint brushes, I'm trying to clean them and at least put something and then walk away. It's not really only painting every day you should focus as an artist, I would say. The thing is, you have to have that conversation right now you're having. You need to know what's going on surrounding the community, and you need to know how you're gonna develop a plan for your business going further if you wanna do it full time. Again, for me, I would say I try to paint at least 20% of the time. 90% is reach out, create, build a business strategy, and make sure I have inventory. Make sure you have enough brushes, make sure the brushes dry. I have to throw them away, figure out things, make space for my next move, create more contact with people in the community, and reach out who want something, even they don't want. And the painting I started, sending a picture and say, hey, I start this piece. What do you think? Give me your suggestion. Just take it, and even you like it or not. And maybe the person you send it out to might want it. Say, hey, I would like to see when this piece is done.
For
And
sure.
I made a lot of sales like that. It's fun. Just a little trick I send out there for you.
I
Um,
love that you said 20%. I want to make sure everybody heard him say that, you're doing all of these other things to run your business and to be an entrepreneur, and you're putting paint on a canvas 20% of the time. I think that's eye-opening. I think some artists, when they're getting into this, think, I'm going to paint all day long every day. But
well,
then you've got to be doing the other parts
you
to really make
stuck.
it
If
successful.
you say, imagine you paint for 90%, 20% is you're not gonna have time to reach everybody you wanna reach, because it's not that easy. Because if you thinking about 90% and you just jumping in and okay, I'm gonna keep paint, and well, sometimes you have to let the paint dry. You can't just keep painting nonstop. Stop overthinking painting every day and then don't know why I can't make any sales. Don't know why things can go further. Don't know why you can keep quit your day job. A lot of things like that happen because if you spend less time painting and reach out and find out, okay, when you go working somewhere and talk to your friends about what you do as well. Maybe they want to support that too as a side thing. They want, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Talk to them and figure it out, on social media and send your friends like personal, not just blow it every day on your page. That's another thing again. But you have your messenger, send them out a text, say, hey, what's up about that? Not just wait 5 years to see them. Say, hey, I'm working on this piece right now, but I still have a day job, whatever, check it out and see,
For
and
sure.
little things like that. You start somehow, and then people will give you good feedback, and maybe they're gonna buy it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that you made me think of something while we were talking about having this conversation that, when you have life experiences and you're traveling or talking with people or networking with people, you have more ideas. Sometimes that'll help your artwork evolve into a different style, or you'll try something different and maybe it's really fulfilling for you or it's really popular for customers. So I think that, having all of these different experiences can only better your artwork.
Well, yes. Talking to others always build up your, knowledge is everything. Um, if you start something you see it doesn't work, don't be afraid to fail. Things happen, just okay with it. If you just think you all of that, you don't want to see, you don't want people to see your failure, then that's your problem. Because you have to be reaching out and ask questions and find what works best and say, hey, I have problem with this paint. You don't want to draw. What's going on about that? Open a conversation, things like that. I think you will develop a skills you need because it's there. You just need to find it.
For sure. I
Again,
have,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I figured we were going to do that eventually. I was just going to say that I think that this community has been so welcoming. I feel like any artist that we've had on or as part of the center or that I've run into, you can send a message to and be like, I really love how you did that. Can you tell me how you did that? Or why isn't this working for me? I think that our community has been pretty receptive to those
Yeah,
kinds of things.
I believe so. Yeah, and again, I don't know everything. I met those folks, and they've been helping me out. And some folks too reach out. I help them out. It's all about helping each other. I think that's what's gonna make us grow. And if we don't do that, I think we're gonna stuck somewhere. And you just think people gonna come and help you like that? No, you know, um,
You got to reach out and ask. I think you got to put yourself out there.
yes. Again, we have to do that. If we don't, you're gonna stuck one place and you're gonna keep create the same piece and you're gonna paint over it and paint over it and paint over it.
And then pull all your hair out.
Yes. So if you start something once, it doesn't work, you try again, it doesn't work. Let's move on and see why it doesn't work and ask someone why that doesn't work. Or maybe do your research to see why that doesn't work and move on. You can sell that piece, create another piece. You can sell that piece, create another piece, and keep reaching out. Maybe something doesn't work in what you're doing. And don't think you can create for yourself. You have to create for others as well when you start doing business. Because, okay, I'm create for myself. I already created already. So I don't need to be for myself anymore because whatever it's inside, I already get it out. So now the people who are looking at it are the one gonna tell me what they receive from that. All I need to do is get it out. I don't want it to drive me crazy. I don't want that pain, I just want to get it out.
I feel like we should highlight the last minute of your conversation right there of like, some artists never want to paint for anyone other than themselves, which I totally understand. I can relate a little bit to that. But
Right.
also, if you are trying to do this as an entrepreneur and you are trying to make a business of this and make a go of it, you have to consider your audience, right? You have to consider the people you're making the artwork
Well,
for.
definitely, because how do you build an audience? It's as you going and you build that. It doesn't happen one day. As I'm creating and people start appreciate what I do, and it's building that way. You build that connection, and you keep doing, and you help out. People need support in the community. Your art reach out to them, things like that, and people realize, okay, this guy doing cool things in the community. I need to support him because he need to buy more supplies. He need to get, things like that. And as you're doing more work and you reach out to more people, and then as it's growing and things just gonna blow in at some point, you call me one night and say, hey, I have something already planned. I can't make it because it became too big for you at some point. You're gonna need someone prayer to work for you, things like that.
Sure.
Hopefully one day I can have 10 prayers at place.
You made me think of something. So I recently bought a painting from Paige Nordstrom. She's a local artist.
Yeah, I know her.
And yeah, I had seen her work. I think she was at the Spring Art Market at the Art Garage, and I took a lap over there because we had some open hours that day. And I remember seeing the painting in person, and I remember thinking, oh, I really love that, but not right now. And literally, like 3 weeks ago, I sent her a Facebook message, and I was like, do you still have that? I need that.
Yeah.
And I think artists need to remember that that happens, because when you talk to somebody, even if it was 3 or 4 months ago or years ago, sometimes that conversation can be so impactful or like spark a memory. And so when I was like, okay, I really need some new artwork for my house, who do I want? Like, who fits my vibe? And she was the first person that came to mind. I remembered the conversation I had with her. I remembered how excited she was to be selling her artwork. And I was like, that's the piece I want. And then she actually brought it to my office, which was so sweet of her. And we had a whole conversation. And now I'm like, oh, that's another artist friend of mine that I can say, oh, what are you working on? Or do you have some advice for me? She's teaching at GB right now. So she's got some really cool stuff going on. And it's continuing to build that network and find people that you can bounce ideas off of and be creative with.
Yes.
And they're right here in our own little neighborhood, which is so cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
She's a great artist. Yeah, we met many times. She done shows at Art Garage.
Yeah.
I did with her as well. Yeah. Again, that's another way too, artists, you promote your work and then trying to find yourself. So when you have little things like that happen in the community, you don't have to start big, because to start big, you have to build a portfolio. It's small, you go as you go and then build to that point. So again, you want to build your business, you have to put time into it. You can't just think you're gonna keep painting and you do have another job. You think just paint. The other job take time away from that. You don't have time to read. Then paint less and reach out. One painting can make a lot of people know you.
For sure.
Just one painting, you can talk about it and then make people know you. It's not like you're gonna do 20 paintings. You think that's what gonna solve the problem.
Yeah, I think putting in the work to build your reputation is huge.
Very important.
Even when I'm sitting here making my list for artist journey stuff or people, I need to find somebody to teach this or do this. The people that come to mind for these things are the people with the reputations. They're people that I'm seeing at events and seeing out doing things and seeing in our community or at events or Art Street or Artie Gras, those kinds of things. So yeah, I think putting in the effort for your reputation is huge. It makes a big difference.
Yes, it is.
I have a couple questions for you, but I also see somebody might be sending one into the chat here. We'll see. But we have about 15 minutes. So if anybody else on the call wants to ask questions, please go for it. Otherwise, I have kind of a two-sided question for you. What is your best or like most favorite part of being an artist and entrepreneur? And then like, what is the worst part? What is the part you struggle with?
My best part is being an artist, where my words can't reach, my art reach it. Because a lot of people will not know me, who I am, without my art. And again, my heart is my hurt. So I think that's my best part, being an artist. My worst thing being an artist is seeing other artists doesn't take it seriously and make the rest of us look not, I don't want to say not as professional, but because what other artists do, sometimes when they don't take it seriously, make it like, people don't respect what we do. That's why it's so difficult when someone asks you, what do you do? And you tell them you're an artist. They say, oh, you're just an artist. Don't you dare say to me, are you an artist? Or what? I will tell you, yes, I am. You have a problem with that? Because an artist is an entrepreneur like everybody else. Because what we do, you don't know. If you want to quit your day job to try what I do, let's do it.
I love
And you'll
that.
find out.
It's true. In the last artist journey, when I was talking with Jenny, I was relaying a story about somebody I know who had just heard that. Oh, you're just an artist? That's all you do? And, in my line of work, like working at the Artisan Center, I can list off how much work it goes, that goes into being an artist. But I think most people in the community don't see that. They think you're just like laying around painting pretty pictures all the time.
That's right.
And yeah, there's so much more to it. It is a really hard job, and you have to be so self-motivated and dedicated and self-disciplined. There is a lot of
Mhm.
mental work to get to being an entrepreneur. And I don't think
Yes.
people see that.
Yes, it's way more than you think go into it. Timing and email people reach out everywhere, say, hey, I need that mural done. Okay, I need to teach my kids. You have to put time because people want to see everything on paper. So if you don't put time to that, so how are you gonna deal with it? You have to respond at time being an artist. You can't not reach out to people. You have to have a time frame, how much time you put into your work. You have to know, okay, how many hours I put in that piece. After I finish it, how much do I want for it?
Yeah.
All of that. So if you're gonna stretch your own artwork, so all of that you have to put. It's time. Time flies. So if you don't time yourself and do things and to know how much you want for your time, then you don't have to value yourself. So at some point,
For sure.
if you don't,
And
nobody will.
there's no step-by-step directions, right? There's
Yes.
no boss. You don't have a boss telling you, okay, do this today, do this tomorrow, this is due by then. You kind of have to do it all by yourself. You have to be your own boss and your employee. And I
Yes.
don't think people realize how hard that is.
They don't. But if they wanna realize how fun it is, let's trade just for a couple of weeks,
Yeah,
and you will
try it
see.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I always like to ask um, near the end of the conversation, what advice do you have for other artists who are either just getting started, or advice for artists who might be struggling or are kind of admiring you? What would you tell somebody that is looking for advice?
Well, we have a lot of advice out there what they wanna hear, but what I will say, if you first started, just make sure you talk to people who understanding the market and people who really um like already in a level above you, because you and artists, you just study, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, and you just like start buying everything you think, because if you keep spending all your money from your day job, you're screwed, because you have to know what to do at some point. Yes, you need to invest, but what I will say is start small and find yourself and share what you do with others. Be part of other group, you know. So doing all of that, I think take care of business. Start learning business. It's not only about painting, because if you only think about painting, again, you're screwed. So learn that process and get your things together and find someone who already know what they're doing and ask a couple questions and to know and wait and see how that works, because it's gonna take time. It's not gonna jump. Every businesses take at least 3 years to go above where you wanna be. When you pass that step, if you are doing it right, and you will see things gonna be a little bit easier for you. Don't be discouraged about it. I'm not going in the negative part of that. Yes, you're gonna have struggle. You're gonna be very. It can be painful sometimes, but again, don't discourage. If you really have enough comfort about what you're doing, you believe in what you're doing, you have to believe in yourself first of all. If you don't believe in yourself as you wanna do it, business and learn business too. Take a class about business, and it's very important because for me, my wife have the background about business. Again, I'm learning business. I'm talking to other. I learn business. I didn't go to school for it, but I learn business. You need to know how to talk to other people when you doing a little show. Don't just hide yourself all the time. Talk to them and make it welcoming. Just chill. Don't be afraid to talk. I used to be that way, and guess what? Things didn't happen to be good for me for a while. And at some point, I say, "What did I doing wrong? My artwork is cool. People say it's cool, but they don't buy." But talk to people and see what's happened. Tell people your story. It's very important.
I think that positive attitude is a huge deal breaker there, right? If you get kind of negative and caught up in that stuff, you can really sabotage yourself. Is it Stefan or Steven? Do you have a question? You want to chat?
What's up, yo?
It's Stefan or Kiba. You can call me
Thank
Kiba,
you.
it's fine.
Perfect.
I don't have a specific question. I just wanted to say hi.
I love that.
Love the conversation that's happening. I've been listening when my son was napping, and now he's awake, so I took a hop on.
I was going to ask who the little guy was in your arms.
Yeah, this is Kai. This is my
Cute.
newest inspiration.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Are you an artist too?
I am. I'm an artist based in Stevens Point.
Hey, I'm originally from Wisconsin Rapids, so.
Okay, it's not too far away. It's like
No, not too far. I love Point. That's very cool.
But I do find myself in Green Bay fairly often, a few times a year. And so I
Nice.
come across Gregory every now and
Yeah.
then. Say hi to the wife.
And nice to see you, buddy.
Yeah, man. This is
I
a great
love that.
conversation. I love it.
Awesome, man.
It's cool because I feel like a lot of these conversations, I've been trying to have more of them with local artists in Stevens Point, and just the same kind of things. Like you gotta do the work. You gotta talk to people. And I know so many artists that are incredible artists that are just missing that personal business aspect, and it's just a matter of just starting it. And so literally the last half hour of just your conversation, I'm like, I've literally been telling so many people this. So it's not just me.
Nice.
For sure.
Awesome.
I say this all the time, but I always kind of psych myself up for these artist journey. I'm always like, oh God, I'm going to sound so awkward. I don't really want to do this. And then as soon as we get into the conversation, I forget that we're even on camera and doing this because I'm so interested in what we're talking about and hearing your experiences and your perspectives. So I love these. It's so fun to get to know all the artists in our area. And I love that we're reaching Stevens Point. That's very cool.
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin is a small state, right? Stevens Point's not that far away.
Yeah.
I try to tune into these sort of things wherever I can, especially if there's this is kind of like a podcast sort of feel. And I've been really into podcasts, specifically artist talks and art business talks. And so just listen to other people have these same conversations that I've been having with my wife over the last few years. And it's not just me, I'm not the only one thinking these thoughts or trying to make this work. And it is a journey and it's a battle, but you gotta again, you gotta put in the work outside of just painting. And that's the hard part for a lot of people, I think.
Yep, definitely, yo.
And I feel like we in our small communities are oh, look what Milwaukee's doing, look what Chicago's doing, look what New York is doing. But really, we have a lot of artists. We have a ton of artist people, and they're doing really cool things. Mm-hmm. I think we just need to keep elevating them and helping each other and having more conversations, right?
Yes, needed.
Well, we are getting close to 6:30, so if anybody else has any questions, Linda or Jan, if you guys want to pop on and ask anything, please go for it. I don't have any major questions left, but Gregory, if there's anything else you want to touch on that I didn't ask you about, please go for it.
I think we pretty much touched everything. So, a little advice I still always want to tell other artists and to make them understanding. Wherever you see in other artists, they didn't just jump in to get to that point. They work hard to get there, and they're still working hard to get farther. So here we are. So the ball is out there. Find a way to kick it. If you stand, you're gonna get hit by the ball.
I think those are great parting words, unless anybody else has any questions.
I do. This is Linda. I do.
For it.
Artist statements. Any Any good words you can say about artist statements? It's always a struggle, especially when they want to do your statement about your work, and I struggle with that. I get through it, but I struggle with it. Any constructive words on that?
Well, what I will say about artist statement, a lot of time people confuse artist statement and bio. So your artist statement, you just have to usually write it on the third person, mostly someone else, and then tell people just shortly about you, and just write a few things about, because again, artists don't want to talk about themselves much, and that's why it's so difficult. Um, for me, again, I'm sit with my wife and explain whatever. I just difficult for me even to say, hey, Gregory is this, Gregory is that. You know what I mean? It's just difficult. I know you are not the only one feel that way, but again, tell people about your work in a few words and who you are, and pretty much. And you don't have to write a huge paragraph about it at all. And any gallery, they're not gonna look at it to say that, because that's why our statement is different than bio. The bio, you can describe where you done your things, all of that, but our statement is just a little statement about yourself, who you are, whatever, and you want to say where you're from, and I'm working with acrylic paint, whatever it is, little things like that, simple. Don't overthink this one because it's not very that important. They ask you about it, but that's it, you know?
Yeah, I always say like 3 to 5 sentences. That might sound a little short, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I have a museum background. And so if I'm going to a museum to look at artwork, I'm going to spend most of my time looking at the artwork. I'm
Yeah.
going to read that artist statement to see if there's anything that I couldn't get from just looking at the painting myself. So that's the way I like to tell people to look at it, is like, is there something that you want the viewer to know when they're looking at your artwork that they're not going to get just from looking at it? So is it like what you're inspired by, or what made you want to create this piece? Some of those things can help you craft an artist statement. You can write out, what I like to do is just like a scrap piece of paper, whatever I've got at my studio, just write a list of things about why I made the piece. They don't even have to make sense. They don't have to be sentences. And then I take that and say, well, what out of that do I really want the viewer to get when they're looking at this piece of artwork? And then I make
Well,
that into a few sentences.
and that kind of leads me into another question. Do you always have your piece in mind before you're creating where you're going to go with it? Because I've heard, I studied with a national artist, and he's like, you should have a story for your painting before you paint. I can't work that way. My painting comes as it's being created. Any thoughts on that?
Well, for me personally, sometimes I have my idea as I'm working and I go with it. Again, we're all different in a way, every artist are different. But people who said that, I mean, you don't have to have the idea before you started. You're the artist. You own your own business, okay? You in charge of that. You don't work for people, okay? So even you work to sell your work, you're your own boss. You decide that, okay? So at some
Thank you.
point, I would, yeah,
I
don't
came to
forget.
that conclusion that I can't work the way he works. And that's what he said. This works for me. And I thought, that works for you, but it does not work for me.
Yeah, whatever works for you, go with it. And don't be afraid to keep doing what you're doing. You're just not reaching out to the right person yet. Whenever it did, just you're gonna go somewhere with it. Don't be afraid. I'm in the same point. Sometimes I feel like I'm working on something, people ask that, I say, maybe that's not for you. And if it's not for you, I can't force you to have it. And I move on into the next move. Okay? Don't stuck with one person say so, or the second say the same. Just keep moving and you
Good
find
advice.
yourself. Yeah,
Thank you.
your
I
problem.
totally agree. I think that's very sound advice in that, what works for one person might not work for another person.
Yep.
Awesome. do we have any last comments or questions? Otherwise, we are like right on time, and I love that. I like to make sure that I don't keep people over, especially when they've agreed to spend a whole hour with me in the evening. So thank you so much, Gregory. Thank you, Jan, Linda, and Kiba for joining us. I love
Yeah, of
having some
course.
live
Thank
people
you,
here.
y'all.
Yeah.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Yeah.
rest of your night, everybody. Thank
Yeah, you
you.
too. Thanks
Thanks,
for having
Carrie.
me,
Thank
Carrie.
you.
Thank you.
Gregory.